Many significant events are unfolding globally, and it is time to delve into what is happening. Before we begin, please ensure you have subscribed to our channel and activated notifications. Your support through likes is extremely valuable for the channel's growth. Do let us know in the comments where you are watching us from. Let us delve into the first of many developments. A fresh offensive has commenced in an area of Russia which Ukraine partly seized during a notable incursion some 5 months back. The ongoing war in Ukraine has led to Russia experiencing supply issues of military hardware, specifically artillery ammunition, rockets, and tactical missiles. The imposition of Western sanctions has hindered Russia's capability to obtain needed technology and resources. Simultaneously, the relentless attrition warfare at the front lines has shown no signs of abating. This situation positions Moscow considerably distant from those early conflict days when they claimed they possessed unending ammunition reserves. To mitigate these resource deficiencies, Russia has engaged with external actors like North Korea. Realizing that maintaining its military campaign against Ukraine was unachievable without the support of North Korea, the Kremlin accepted significant military resources from Pyongyang. There have been many accusations indicating that the regime led by Kim Jong-un has provided Russia with millions of artillery munitions, tactical ballistic missiles, and even personnel. Recently, the focal point has been on the almost 12,000 soldiers which Pyongyang has sent to support the Kremlin. This, of course, is just the beginning. It has been uncovered that the extent of North Korean support to Russia goes beyond just troops. Though they deny it, considerable evidence and numerous credible reports confirm this. Most recently, startling details emerged regarding a North Korean air defense system sighting within the Kursk region. It is understood that the North Korean short to medium altitude air defense system, likely named TNK, was placed in Kursk to help the Russian military or their own North Korean personnel. What will shock you is how the soldiers of the Russian army reacted to this air defense setup. Once again, Putin's army has not surprised anyone. We will now thoroughly investigate this interesting occurrence and how the Russian forces engage this North Korean air defense system near Kursk. Before we dive in further, let me remind you to subscribe to our channel, enable notifications, and give us a like to stay on top of all the freshest developments. Let us dive right in. Don't forget, after we finish all the chapters, we will share our conclusions, so to stay tuned until the very end. The appearance of the North Korean mobile surface-to-air missile system in the Ukrainian war is quite interesting. Though the official designation of this air defense system is not known, this is yet another example of Pyongyang's provision of military support for Moscow's war efforts. Ironically, the revelation of the North Korean air defense system within the combat zone resulted from a video posted by the Russian military bloggers themselves. The system was evidently destroyed by a friendly fire incident. The spotlight shifted fully when news broke that North Korea's T-like air defense system was mistakenly attacked by a Russian drone close to Kherson. Alongside this questionable friendly fire instance in Kherson, significant analyses have surfaced about the nature of the North Korean air defense system. Evaluations of the visuals available have proven that the objective was the same type as the North Korean mobile surface-to-air missile system initially displayed at a major military parade held in Pyongyang during October of 2020. As highlighted earlier, the North Korean system is thought to be largely similar to the Russian Tor low to medium altitude short-range air defense system. The Tor air defense system is deployed widely within Russia and to a lesser extent in Ukraine. There has been considerable conjecture regarding the specific system destroyed by Russian drone operators in Kursk, particularly if it involved the tracked version. In terms of external appearance, the North Korean system possesses resemblances to the wheeled Tor M2K version developed in Belarus by the MZKT company. However, the North Korean variant features 5 axles as opposed to 3. Within the North Korean design, the missile module along with the radar is placed at the middle of a semi-trailer. Ukrainian units, on the contrary, mainly operate only tracked 9K330 version of the Tor, which is largely similar to the North Korean system. They are used in very small numbers. Furthermore, Russian military units involved in the Ukrainian war have also been witnessed using just the tracked variations of the Tor, which include the more modern 9K331 Tor M1 and 9K332 Tor M2, and their relevant subversions, all mounted on tracked chassis. Despite the specific make of this North Korean air defense system, the most shocking part remains that the Russian drone operators were responsible for its destruction. The Russian drone operators who mistakenly targeted the vehicle equipped with the North Korean air defense system were very likely unfamiliar with such a model. Therefore, the operators might have perceived it to be a Ukrainian air defense system or some Western hardware, because friendly fire instances happen quite frequently in the war of Ukraine. On the other side, the manner in which the existence of the North Korean air defense system was unveiled, together with its presence within the war zone, is rather important. It initially showed that more and more forms of North Korean heavy weaponry were becoming involved in the conflict. There may be several reasons why this system was active in the area of Kursk. First, this air defense system may have been located in Kursk for usage by Pyongyang's own forces. Using this particular system, North Korean troops can establish their organic air defense capability, which is currently rather lacking. The Ukrainian Air Force is acknowledged to be quite active in the Kursk region, striking ground targets using air-launched munitions that were supplied by the West. Given the intense use of North Korean troops in the Kursk counterattack, the presence of this system is not entirely surprising. Another possible explanation is that Russia might have used the system to augment its air defense capabilities. If this is indeed the situation, it would imply that Moscow has very specific needs for such weaponry, has faced major losses regarding such resources, and is facing difficulty in ensuring the adequate upkeep, or at minimum, timely substitution of these items. Russia's capacity to generate the required volumes of higher-end military equipment, in particular, is a phenomenon that has been repeatedly questioned since the start of the full-scale Ukrainian invasion. In response to the intense sanctions which are currently in effect, the Kremlin may have requested this kind of air defense system from Pyongyang, since it's relatively new system. The North Korean short to medium-range air defense units may have been incorporated into some form of combat assessment to try and further hone the capabilities of this technology. This operational evaluations might have also been carried out with Russia, likely with a possible purchase in mind for themselves. Soldiers might have been trained to use such systems. However, the Kremlin, as has been usual, may have opted to simply plug the existing capability gaps. This could have inadvertently paved the way for the Russians to inadvertently destroy the North Korean system. Following the friendly fire destruction of Pyongyang's air defense system, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky also voiced some notable thoughts concerning Russia's weapons relationship with North Korea. In a post on social media, Zelensky stated there must be no doubt worldwide that the Russian army is increasingly dependent on military assistance from North Korea. In the same announcement, Zelensky also highlighted the capture of several North Korean soldiers by the Ukrainian armed forces. Zelensky proposed that the North Korean soldiers be exchanged for Ukrainian war prisoners captured by Russia. Aside from the thousands of soldiers sent by North Korea into the war zone, specifically within the Kursk region, North Korea has also provided Russia with a substantial amount of weaponry, which included vital artillery shells and many types of ammunition reaching millions of rounds. During late last year, South Korea's National Intelligence Agency, based on input from the Ukrainian Defense Intelligence Division, compiled a listing of North Korean weapons obtained from the battlefield. This list included 122 mm and 152 mm shells, bullseye anti-tank missiles, short-range ballistic missiles like the KN-23, and RPG anti-tank rockets. South Korean intelligence has additionally disclosed the deployment of North Korean 170 Mir M1989 Kokusan self-propelled artillery units within the Ukrainian conflict. It is still unconfirmed whether these systems were used solely by North Korean troops or whether they were supplied to Russia. Russian land-based air defense technology far exceeds the developments made by North Korea, and especially point defense is viewed as one of Pyongyang's more deficient military capabilities. Nevertheless, as Russian military losses also comprise a large number of air defense systems, the chance of the Kremlin having received support from Pyongyang in that capacity cannot be disregarded. Currently, North Korea has made significant progress with ground-based air defenses in recent times, even though the major emphasis of its endeavors has been on longer-range surface-to-air missile units. It is likely that Pyongyang may have shared these important steps with the Moscow regime. Of course, there is a quid pro quo for North Korea's military support for Russia. North Korea received Russian air defense systems in exchange for supporting Kremlin's war in Ukraine. This significant information was announced by South Korean officials. Shin Won-sik, a senior security advisor to South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol, stated that Russia provided surface-to-air missiles and other unspecified air defense equipment. He mentioned that these resources would be used to boost the air defenses of the North Korean capital, Pyongyang. While the exact kind of air defense systems was not revealed, Lee Il-woo, an expert from the Korea Defense Network in South Korea, proposed that the S-400 surface-to-air missile system is a strong possibility. This includes long-range surface-to-air missiles, launchers, ground-based radar systems, and other related items. It is one of the most cutting-edge systems currently accessible anywhere in the globe. The S-400s have been commonly used by Russia, including in the war against Ukraine, and have also been exported to Algeria, Belarus, China, India, and Turkey. The S-400 has a maximum range of almost 250 miles and can neutralize low-altitude ballistic missile targets, plus aircraft and cruise missiles. It is interesting that this information follows closely after Russia destroyed a North Korean air defense system close to Kursk. Experts believe Russia's provision of the S-400 acts as compensation for North Korea's losses near Kursk. But do S-400 air defense systems make any sense for North Korea? The S-400 would make strategic sense for North Korea if they are aiming to protect Pyongyang, specifically as the country does not have advanced air defense systems of that class. The defense of the capital is currently reliant mostly upon older surface-to-air missiles and anti-aircraft artillery. Despite North Korea saying it has operationally deployed the locally created KN-06 long-range surface-to-air missile system, also called Pyongyang-5, in 2017, its actual operational status is unclear. Even if widely deployed, this North Korean system would likely not be as competent as the S-400. It's thought that the KN-06 is built on the Chinese HQ-9, which is derived from the Russian S-300, an air defense system that is a generation behind the S-400. Thus, the S-400 air defense systems are viewed as a useful choice for North Korea in many aspects. Of course, various other types of air defense resources may have also been provided by Russia. As mentioned by Kim Dae-young, a military expert at the Korea National Strategy Research Institute, anti-drone equipment could be particularly interesting to North Korea as it currently faces an increasing threat from drones deployed by South Korea and the United States. Simultaneously, long-range S-300 systems, or even the Pantsir series of short-range air defense systems, might also be among the military resources that North Korea might consider acquiring from Russia in the coming times. North Korea may also request unmanned aerial vehicles from Russia because drones are quite important to Pyongyang. The value of drones for Pyongyang has been emphasized once again by military experts recently, after North Korea accused South Korea of deploying drones for the distribution of propaganda materials above its capital city. Videos released by North Korean authorities displayed two distinct drone types. This action comes after North Korea launched balloons loaded with human waste and rubbish into the south, in what can be seen as an act of sabotage, accompanying a period of higher tension across the peninsula, which began this past summer. South Korea has chosen not to confirm if it is indeed responsible for the alleged drone activity. The ability of drones, whether advanced or less so, to infiltrate the heavily protected airspace over North Korea's capital is certainly a major concern for the authorities there. This exposes vulnerabilities in the nation's best air defense strategies. Pyongyang may therefore decide to get air defense systems and drones from Moscow, both to deter such movements and to launch its own offensives against Seoul. Any military operation launched by South Korea against the North is likely to make heavy use of drones, including their use to surprise and overwhelm air defenses. It appears that whatever type of air defense systems have been acquired so far, they will, according to Pyongyang, provide significant improvement to the North Korean military. At the same time, it is quite clear that Russia is currently in urgent need of air defense systems. The war in Ukraine has placed considerable burden on the Russian military's existing supplies of surface-to-air missiles. Currently, the Kremlin is showing a large demand for these resources, both to protect their land and to defend their airspace along the front lines. This is very likely to interrupt deliveries of S-400s that are under consideration for delivery to North Korea. The North Korean party, on the other hand, is trying to prevent any disruption in its arms relations with Russia. A highly significant assessment of this situation was recently released by the United States. According to a recent report from a US-based think tank, North Korea is now expanding a weapons facility which produces the missiles used by Russia in Ukraine. Based on research by the James Martin Center for Non-Proliferation Studies at the Middlebury Institute for International Studies, the facility makes both KN-23 missiles and KN-24 missiles. The plant, located in Hamhung, the second biggest city in North Korea, has received several visits from North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. State media in North Korea has previously announced the bulk manufacturing of tactical missiles at the plant. According to researchers, footage from state media obtained by KCNA showed that Kim Jong-un had toured the facility in August of 2023, which showcased the tail kits added to the Hwasong-11 class, or KN-type missiles, the nozzles installed, and the nose cones which cover short-range ballistic missiles. However, these images have since been removed from state media websites. New satellite imagery reveals North Korea has broadened its Hamhung facility, creating a second building to complete the final assembly of missiles, and also additional living arrangements for its workers. Sam Lair, a research fellow at the Center for Non-Proliferation Studies, stated that the facility looks to be an effort to make the production line more efficient. Sam Lair also proposed that researchers have observed a significant expansion in recent years at what the North Korean authorities call the February 11th facility. The facility began to expand in size during 2020. Since that time, standard updates have been performed, such as repairing older buildings and replacing roofs. However, the newest building, which was most likely designed for missile assembly, suggests that they were not just improving a particular element of the production line, but actively trying to broaden it. Based on research of images acquired by satellite firm Planet Labs during October, Sam Lair also noted that North Korea has also expanded the size of its workforce at that location. Lair has calculated that the new missile assembly building will be close to 60 to 70% the size of the primary building. Lair also suggests that the factory forms a part of the Ryangsong machinery complex, which also generates products such as multiple rocket launcher shells for the North Korean military. Unfortunately for the Kremlin, this facility could lead to a further escalation of airstrikes against Ukraine. Russia has already launched almost 60 North Korean Hwasong-11A missiles, KN-23, at Ukraine this year. At least 28 people have been killed and 213 injured this year through attacks that use North Korean missiles. Ukraine's Attorney General stated previously that US and European-made or designed circuits were discovered in the guidance systems of KN-23 missiles acquired by North Korea, despite existing sanctions. Now, with the North Korean company producing such missiles expanding and generating more of them, there are rising concerns. Moscow and Pyongyang have previously denied that North Korea exports weapons to Russia, despite solid evidence of such transfers. Observers have expressed worries that Moscow may be violating international sanctions to aid Pyongyang's development of its military satellite program. Given this, a Russian-friendly fire destruction of North Korea's military resources would likely put a strain on the arms supply relationship between the two countries. But this is not sufficient. Russia and North Korea are not only supplying weapons to one another, but they also have almost unified production within this area. Therefore, the West is expected to step in more efficiently against the Russia-North Korea alliance. In future, more sanctions will be placed on this military collaboration between Russia and North Korea, which will hopefully reduce the devastating impacts of this war. Thank you for choosing us. Conclusion. In conclusion, the evolving relationship between Russia and North Korea, driven by the ongoing conflict in Ukraine and the stringent sanctions imposed on Russia, has brought about a complex situation with several layers of implications. The increasing dependence of Russia on North Korean military assistance, ranging from manpower to various types of weapon systems, underscores a significant shift in the dynamics of global alliances and the availability of advanced weaponry. The inadvertent destruction of a North Korean air defense system by Russian forces serves not only as a demonstration of the dangers of such a complex war, but also shows the strain of interoperability within military alliances. The trade-off in weaponry between Russia and North Korea, specifically the S-400 air defense systems being sent to Pyongyang in return for North Korean aid, further highlights the complex nature of the war effort. Moreover, the expansion of North Korean military manufacturing facilities, as well as the increasing use of North Korean missiles against Ukrainian targets, is a sign of a growing military entanglement between the two nations. These events show the need for international oversight and actions to reduce the dangerous outcomes of this situation. The West will need to take swift action to prevent further collaboration, as well as the continued supply of such dangerous weaponry from going further, especially given that these weapons have already had devastating effects in Ukraine. The conflict is not only changing warfare, but also realigning relationships between countries.